Good day, spellers. Welcome to another week of spelling. It is today, the 8th of February. Remember, we're in our second month of the year, so 2, the 8th, as I mentioned, and the year is 2021. Today is spelling lesson number 69. We are cruising right along in our spelling lessons. Remember, now that we're in the second half of the year, we're working on hoping that you are practicing writing the words in cursive with me. Our first word today is the word state. We live in the state of Minnesota. Right. Do you remember the states of matter? State. Pause for a moment, scholars. Analyze the word state. All right, let's check your analysis. How many syllables in state? Right, one syllable. Scholars, it's a. Oh, name sound of that a. You probably don't want me to state this, but you noticed, I bet, that we don't yet have the dictionary spelling of state. We need a silent final E. So, scholars, those are the markings, right? A, saying its name sound, and double underlining the silent E. Remember, we double underline silent letters. And we have to then think, which silent final E rule is this? Vowel, saying its name sound. Consonant, silent E. You are correct. It is the VCE rule. That villainous E, right? Hoping to take over the world, state by state, then country by country, continent by continent, until the whole world is taken over. Yikes. State. Now, scholars, our next word has state as its root word, and we're adding meant to it. We do not drop the E because meant is a vowel suffix that does not start with a vowel. So state, and then 3 camel humps on that M, 2 camel humps on the N to make the word statement. All right, pause for a moment, analyze the word statement. All right, let's check your analysis on statement. How many syllables? Did you say 2? That would be correct. Scholars, our first syllable stays exactly the same. State. Oh, that villainous E. Releasing a statement of his plan to take over the world. And then our second syllable, no markings, it's just t. So state and statement are very close to the same thing, right? State and then statement. All right. Scholars, let's go ahead to our next word already. So state, statement. Our next word begins with an F. That's our most recent cursive letter that we learned. So remember, cursive F starts at the baseline. You loop up to the top line, slant up to the top line, and you make a thin loop. You drop below, and then you backward loop to the baseline and do the kick out tail. We're writing, scholars, the word fame. Our villain is hoping to achieve both fame and fortune in his quest to take over the world. Fame. Pause for a moment. Analyze fame. All right, scholars, fame is a one-syllable word. Saying its name sound again. And You probably see we don't yet have the dictionary spelling of fame. Silent E to make it the dictionary, the spelling of fame. Now, which silent final E rule is that? Vowel, saying its name sound. Consonant, E. Oh my goodness, scholars, you are right. It is once again the VCE rule. Right? That villainous E. Right? Hoping to gain fame, as he said in his very own statement of his plan to go state by state, country by country, continent by continent, in his quest to take over the world. Fame. Will he achieve fame and fortune? Or maybe he'll become famous for something else. Our last word, scholars, also starts with an F. So remember, starting at the baseline, slanting to the top line, thin loop, drop below the baseline, backward loop to the baseline. And we are writing the word famous. 3 camel humps on that M. Famous. What would you like to be famous for doing? All right, pause for a moment, analyze famous. Scholars, how many syllables in famous? 2 is correct. Our first syllable is a. Oh, again, saying its name sound. Fay, finger space, Now that next sound is right? So scholars, it's our multiple letter phonogram. Ow, oh, ooh, saying its fourth sound of right? Fame, us, famous. Ow, oh, ooh, So it doesn't often say That's why it's the fourth sound of that multiple letter phonogram. And then our famous. Famous. Now, scholars, there are 2 rules in this word. Perhaps you got them when you paused and did your analysis, but they might have been tricky for you. The first one is the A-E-O-U rule. Right? Here in our first syllable, the syllable ends with an a, saying its name sound. Fay. Say that rule with me. A, E, O, and U. Usually say A, E, O, and U at the end of a syllable. And scholars, the other one, to go from fame to famous, we had to drop the E from the root word fame to add the O-U-S ending, famous. That might have been tricky to catch, and that's okay. Remember, that's a growth mindset, right? Learning from something you didn't notice and then committing it to your memory, learning from it, right? Drop the E is one of our new ones. It's okay if you missed that. Get it down on your paper now. All right, scholars, that brings us to our bonus word for today. Today's bonus word is Mexico City. Mexico City is the capital of Mexico. So if we take a quick look at our map, Here, this large dark green, right? This is the country of Mexico. So Mexico City is the capital of Mexico. All right, so Mexico City, the capital of Mexico. Then, scholars, if you would like to, taking a look down here in this bottom space, remember this is your own optional enrichment. If you'd like to let your creativity show, right? We're going to use the word famous, right? I became famous for, and then you can finish that sentence starter, right? What did you become famous for? What did you do, right? That made you famous. Right? I became famous for, what was it that brought you fame? And then remember, if you would like to, you can send that to your teacher, showing your teacher your creativity. It's enrichment work if you would like. The required part is to click on the attached Google form, answer the 5 questions about today's spelling words. Right? Get those answers submitted by clicking the submit button at the bottom of the Google form. You must remember to do that, otherwise the answers do not arrive to your teacher. Scholars, thank you for joining me. Tomorrow in spelling, we are going to do a grammar lesson. So you will have a spelling lesson again on Thursday this week. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow for grammar.